Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite YouTuber who only switched to Manjaro because he's not manly enough for Arch or Void, Gardiner, the Linux gamer. Yeah, that's like the mentality that I've come to expect. This video is brought to you, as always, by my 124 amazing patrons. That number keeps going up, doesn't it? I wanted to give a special shout out to Peter Wilkins, one of my top tier Singularity members, who keeps this channel just afloat. Thank you, Peter. Your support is truly humbling. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you don't like this video, make sure you smash that dislike button because, oh, that'll really show me what for. You can also subscribe to the channel if you're new here, or if you're not subscribed. It really helps the show out. And you can also check out the show on LBRY. That's LBRY or beta.lbry.tv/@thelinuxgamer. Holy crap. Holy crap. We need to talk about this. Did you guys hear about this? The Washington Post is reporting that the FBI and ICE, they are basically now abusing state DMV records to gather facial recognition data on at least half of the country. And this is just terrifying, and they're doing it without your knowledge or your consent. So if you stick around to the end of the video, we're going to have links and information about how you can help prevent and help remedy this situation. But I just wanted to get you guys up to speed on this. There's going to be a link to the actual Washington Post report in the description as well. So check that out because it's very fascinating and it's largely terrifying. So the Washington Post and the Georgetown Law Privacy Center have basically published a study that shows clear evidence, a paper trail and everything, of how the FBI and ICE have literally weaponized state DMV records, which you would think would be innocuous enough, into basically this massive distributed database of facial recognition data, and they're running a ton of queries on this data every year, and nobody seems to be the wiser about it. The Government Accountability Office said that over the last 8 years, the FBI has logged 390,000 facial recognition searches from both federal and local databases, and that number should be frightening to anybody. Now, this isn't all bad news, because the Washington Post said that many of these searches have only included the face and have no information otherwise attached to them, at least their name and other data scrubbed from it. However, this is still a huge government overreach, in my opinion. Now, to put this in perspective, 21 states and Washington, D.C. Allow federal agencies to basically plunder the DMV records. Some of them require a warrant, most of them don't. Now, what's really troubling about this is that 13 states and D.C. allow undocumented immigrants to have driver's licenses, which means that photos of undocumented immigrants are in the DMV's database. The fact that ICE has access to many of these documents means that this is a concerning situation, including to myself. Like, I'm concerned about this. I don't care what your politics are. No matter what side of the aisle you fall on, this is an issue for all of us. It affects all of us. It's not just undocumented immigrants. It's not just Democrats. It's not just Republicans. It's not just libertarians. It's not just socialists. This affects us all, everyone living in this country, and it's scary. This is just unethical, and it should not be happening. And to be honest, I don't feel like I'm in the wrong here to be incensed by this. Honestly, I think we need some kind of new word to describe this. I think we need a word like hacker, but for someone, or in this case, something that gains access illicitly, or at least not on the up and up, and ends up using that information for nefarious purposes. And I think we might co-opt the word plagiarize to be the word that we use, because it has a strong negative connotation to it, but it's not very unique. So I don't know. What do you think? If there's a word that you can think of, let me know down in the description, because, we really need some kind of word, because this stuff happens all the time. Like, it's like a leak, but it's not really a leak. I don't know. Now, I say nefarious, and there are going to be some people who disagree with me, and this is fine. Look, I know that this is like a hugely polarizing issue. Talking about anything political is probably a death sentence, but I really don't think that this is a left or right issue. This is not liberal and conservative. This is like a fundamentally American issue, and no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, this is hugely important. And I can see the argument from both sides against this kind of government overreach and this kind of dangerous precedent that it sets. And unless you say that I'm overreacting here, because I most definitely am not, the vast majority of the people in the DMV records have not been even accused of a crime, let alone convicted of one. And if you'll allow me to wave my American flag around a little bit, because I am an American and I consider myself a fan, a patriot, if you will. America is based on a couple novel concepts, in my opinion. The first one is that you're innocent until proven guilty. And the second is that the government needs to have a warrant and you're suspected of a crime before they're allowed to arrest you or seize your paperwork or do searches and seizures. This is a really important thing. It's one of the reasons that there's good separation of power, hypothetically. So the Fourth Amendment guarantees you the right to privacy in your persons, your papers, and your property. And I would argue that any and all records held by local, state, or federal government that has nothing to do with specific criminal activity on your part are personal, or they're private information that should belong to you, and the government should be held accountable for how that information is disseminated around other federal, local, or state government agencies. And I think that any federal agency that's looking to access that information either needs your express written permission or they need a warrant. Basically, what's happening is that these state DMV records are being used as if they're a privately held facial recognition database. And that's not only offensive to me as a patriot, but it should also be considered dangerously illegal. And I think that these agencies should be held accountable, and they should be forced to delete any and all information that was obtained in this way. Like I said, this isn't a liberal or conservative issue, right? This is public data that's being pilfered by federal agencies that have both a high potential for abuse and an even greater potential for misidentification. This shouldn't be a matter of left versus right. So the question is, what can you actually do about this? Well, some of you might be cynical and think that this won't make a difference, but you can call your local, your state, and your federal representatives and tell them that you are unhappy about this, okay? Tell them that you want change. That's super important. One voice, especially on the local and state level, can make a huge impact. And really, this is a government for, of, and by the people, and they're responsible to us. In an ideal situation, I mean, it really is up to all of us to make the call and make the change and help get legislation passed that protects our public information like DMV records from overreaching agencies and software that is error prone and should not be relied upon. And let me reiterate one more time. This is not a left or right issue. Before you leave a comment about the Dems or the Republicans, even if it's ironic or sarcastic, that's not funny, okay? You won't be welcome to leave a comment again on my channel if you leave a shithead comment. This is not a left or right issue. This is an American issue. This is a surveillance state issue. And if you think you're above politics and you're hoping and praying for an anarchic state, let me just say, surveillance isn't an exclusively public enterprise problem, okay? There are many private entities that are all about surveillance.
Senate Majority Office.
Hi, I was looking to talk to someone who works with Senator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm one of her constituents, and I recently read an article in the Washington Post about how the FBI and ICE are using state DMV records. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
You did hear about this. So basically, I'm sure you know that they're taking our photo IDs and they're using it to basically create their own facial recognition database. And what I find really troubling about this is that the DMV records are of mostly innocent people who haven't been accused of a crime, and yet their records are being scrutinized as if they have been accused of a crime. And none of us are notified when our records are searched. I was hoping that you could tell Senator that I find this to be a violation of our Constitution's guarantee of separation of powers, but also an instance of extreme government overreach, and that I'm hoping that she could do something to put a stop to this.
Absolutely. Did you want me to take down your name and number so she can, or a representative from her office can return your call?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Gardiner.
And well, I'll definitely pass this along to Senator.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, not a problem, Gardner. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And sometimes it's just that easy. I love it. Call your representative, okay? Let them know that you are not okay with this. Let them know that there are many people who they represent who want this kind of behavior from law enforcement to stop, okay? Now, there's a link in the description. I strongly encourage you to go there, find out how to contact your local, your state, and your federal representatives, and let them know that this is not acceptable behavior from law enforcement and that they should pass legislation that prevents this kind of abuse. And remember that now is the best time to get involved. I think that's going to do it for this video. I know that this might be a polarizing topic. I know that there are going to be people who are going to be like, stop talking about politics, but I really don't think this is a political issue. I think this is a public issue, and that I really believe that we can make a difference. If you believe in the work that I do, you can support this show with a monthly contribution over on Patreon, or you can pick up a t-shirt. There's a link down below. But no matter what you do, whether you hit that like button or share this video with your friends, don't forget to subscribe to see more from me, the Linux Gamer. And as always, thanks for watching.